I'm Elizabeth Malone. I'm a sociologist. I have my PhD in sociology from University of Maryland. My original background was in English literature and communications, and you'll see that kind of in what I present today. I'm a senior researcher at the Joint Global Change Research Institute, which is a partnership of Pacific Northwest National Laboratory and University of Maryland. Well, of course, the most important questions relate to how humans are interacting with the environment and what the consequences of those interactions are. So it's not so much what we use out of the environment, but why we use it, why we have set ourselves up, why our lives are configured in ways that use the resources of the environment. Without that understanding, I think we don't have a real hope of reconfiguring those arrangements so that we live more lightly on the earth, as the phrase goes. My talk today tries to look at the problem of climate change, mitigation and adaptation, sort of inside out from the usual way that it's been looked at. So instead of a long causal chain starting with climate change and coming down to impacts and then looking at vulnerability. What I try to do is to take that inside out and say how are societies configured, how do they use energy, the land and other earth resources, and then how does climate change play in all that? How does climate play in all of that, and then how does climate change play in all that? So I think taking a hold of the problem, like I usually say at the other end, yields insights that aren't obtainable when you do it the usual way. Well, it's a different approach. As I say, I think it yields more insights, and it has a better chance, in my view, of really generating some ideas and some strategies by which we can actually address climate change, rather than the sort of theoretical things that come out of the magnitude of impacts and so on, and then just strategies that say, well, if we did this, we could reduce our, well, we're doing what we do for a bunch of reasons that are social, economic, and so forth in nature. If we need to understand those reasons before we can start changing what we do. Okay, it's a reframing, so it's not like your typical experiment where you put things in and then you come out with other things. But I think if I put it into a framing that says what are my results, then I say there's not one way to look at this. So, and there aren't just a few small ways of looking at that. Usually we look at the drivers of climate change as being population, affluence or economics, and technology. But it's not any one of those things. It's not that you can take a handle and turn it. It's that you have to look at the whole field of things before you can start to think intelligently about what's going on. In practical terms, what that means is that you start with the situation that there is in this world where we use too much energy and we generate emissions that are changing the climate. We look at that world first rather than looking at the atmosphere or even the emissions that are going up in the world, to say what are our social arrangements and how can we fulfill the needs that we have in different ways. I think it's starting to be developed in a number of ways, but I think the promising ways are the bridges and overlaps that are now being looked at to many other of the world's problems. For example, development. So there's a big overlap between building climate change resilience and development of societies, both economic and social development. There's a big overlap in security, both national security in terms of conflict and other kinds of security, food security, water security. There's a big overlap in governance domains, so that we now realize that not only do we not have one government type that fits every situation, but that the governance structures that are there have to be particular to the situations that are there and so on. So that's a big overlap as well. And those are the kinds of bridges and overlaps that I think we need to make if we're going to have a true solution to the problem, or set of solutions, I should say.